Hello, everybody. Sparrow's already made her way up here on my lap for this day 21 of 101 Days Live. And today I get to share one of my favorite people of all time with you. Tricia Speas is here.
6 months in Michigan during all the snow and I even sent a note to Jessica. What's up with this? I'm not manifesting right. But I live with the people 24/7, and right now it's been kind of to help some of the elderly, the families, from putting them in a nursing home, because COVID has been such a mean thing. And even though they're safe pretty much in a nursing home, they don't get to visit families. And of course, a lot of them are open now. But even the lady I'm taking care of now, though, is if she did go to assisted living, she'd be put immediately in a memory unit, and the family doesn't want that yet. And she's been really sweet. I've had really fun with her. And in fact, apparently I've made a monster out of her, because we've been separated for the last 2 weeks. And the family has contacted me and said, and you're going to be back when? She keeps asking for you and wants to go home. But that's a great feeling, knowing that she's comfortable with me and that she's enjoying life. And that's my main purpose. But I am, because I know I am older. I mean, I don't feel old, but 66, and I just feel that, I can't do this all my life, especially, well, one thing that I was able to do, and that's why I've been separated from the lady I have, is a former family asked me to take their mother, which I had taken care of for 5 years. Her oldest son had passed away, which we would go and visit in Taos, New Mexico twice a year. And so the memorial service was going to be there. And so the family asked me if I would take her, and she was in a memory unit. And she still remembers me, and it was funny. We were driving along, and she says, "Oh, weren't these the best times when we did this?" And it was just really sweet. But she was a lot of work, And I then reminded me of that I really need to push my coaching, life coaching. I've in the middle of being a second certification, but I have learned so much. And then I realized that I have basically life coached a lot of people in a way, just encouraging and not telling people what to do, but to help let them figure out, what's going on in their lives, and or do the right questions to encourage them to go in a way that's right for them. And I look back, and I've done that forever. And I thought, I might as well start getting paid for this. But it just comes natural to me. And comes natural to encourage, to love on people. And it's kind of what I did with Jessica. She's helped me in discouraging days, and I tend to know the days that she needs love and encouragement. And so that's a special thing that to give. And and I'm just going to be real honest. Jessica has probed probably a deeper spiritual aspect of me. I've always been not just religious, but I've always been spiritual. But I am longing to be more connected, even deeper than I've ever been. And Jessica's one that's, you really haven't encouraged me in that area, but but you
I
have in
didn't
a
want to
way.
push. I didn't want to push. It's
Well, no,
lead
and
by example.
that's right.
Uh,
And you have,
yeah,
and um,
and it's been great to see you open up, because I know it's scary to step out of the religious piece and go deeper
mhm,
in having that connection with the divine, with God, with Jesus. I mean, all of it
mhm,
is all connected. And the words that we're
yeah,
using are all the same. But unfortunately, our organized religions have tried to keep us kind of in this in between relationship, right? Where you're not
yeah,
in that close, loving
mhm,
space, because there's always some
yeah,
sort of judgment. There's always some sort of something that is
mm,
keeping you from really stepping into that connection, that relationship that is divine love, and feeling that completely.
yeah. And what's so crazy, Jessica, is that I'm learning and from the Word of God, of
Mm-hmm.
being so intimate with our, and
Yes.
it is truth. And it's so cute. I took care of a lady that turned 100, and she was just precious. And that was last December through, she passed away the 1st of June. But she was so sweet, and she loved to read, and she, was really pretty active. And I gave her a book about intimacy with God, and she read it through, and then she'd say, Tricia, can you really be that intimate with them? And I said, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You can have that connection. And she just, was so hungry for that. And I think a lot of people don't realize, that you can have a true connection. And it may not, I mean, like even with me doing this last year and a half, every step of it has been divine. And
Mm-hmm.
from my first event, my first client that I had, um, I mean, I had just lost my job, and somebody called me, and they were just checking quote on prices and stuff of what caregiving, because they needed for their loved one. And then they came out and said, would you ever consider moving? And I go, why not? And they were kind of blown away. And that's when it started, and then went up to
Mm-hmm.
Michigan, and now in Lincoln, Nebraska. And each step has been entirely God, entirely God. And you're the fault of the last one. I don't know if I know I've told you the story, but you had a challenge,
Yes.
and I wanted to support you. And then you kept reminding me, now get your introduction on there. And so I did. And in 10 minutes, right after, I got this message and said, would you be interested? And that's where I am now. So everything has been
Mhm.
divine, and it's been really
It is.
just a
And
step of faith.
you've been, even though you're, yes, even though you're traveling the wrong direction every season, it's not the wrong direction because you're exactly where you're supposed to be
Right,
right now. And your
right.
snowbird season will come when it's time for it to come.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, so the
yes.
challenge she's talking about is one of my Finding Fulfillment 21-day groups that I have led, and it was just a divine connection of her and another gal in her challenge who I saw was here briefly. I don't
Yeah.
know if she's still watching, but um and they
Oh,
got connected, and it was perfect because
mm,
Tricia filled a need. One thing that you said was perseverance, and I want to, there was something I was tying in my brain around the religious piece and having that connection and perseverance. Is there anything that you have that you can share in that perseverance with your connection with God? How do they tie together? Have you felt lost when you've lost that connection? Can you just send some thought into that?
sure. Um, I would say I've always had a connection. Um, my dad and my brother, my dad has passed away, but both are ministers, and so I've been in the church all my life, and I've seen a lot of I grew up very, very conservatively. Um, but there, in all of it, I do know my dad had a really connection with the Lord. And so in fact, he was the one that really, quote, led me to the Lord. I mean, just because they say just because you're parked in a garage doesn't mean you're a car, or I can't remember that quote. I probably butchered it to pieces, um, but um, he gave me really good principles to live by, and little by little, though, I saw the things to shave off from the quote religion. Um, where it was so traditional, and I'm trying to think of the word, um, it wasn't really anything of the Lord. It was man-made rules, man-made things to make you think that's what you had to do in order to live the life of, as a quote Christian. And so, and then even the last 3 years, I've learned a lot of, you know, um, my dad had a great faith that whenever he needed something, it appeared. And I always admired that of him. And it seemed like when I had a need, I always had to work for it. But it happened. And then I started learning my thinking. Um, and that thinking of, okay, so I know I have to work for whatever I want. So that's what happens. And now I've triggered that, knowing or change that in, I can have the same faith as my father in just believing that, okay, maybe I will work for it, but things are showing up on my plate that I never imagined. Abundance, and um, I'm able to do things that I never in my life thought I would. But it's because I, hey, God, you said I could have the abundance. And, this is what I'd like to do. And he let me go on on a hot air balloon ride that I thought would never happen. But I
Mm-hmm.
said, that's something I'm going to do. And I did it. And, and the money wasn't even an issue. It was just, I don't even know how to explain the things that, but yes, there's been times, especially in my divorce, that was a down time. Um, I'm a fighter. Um, and two, I had a 5-year-old that kept me from doing anything stupid. I did I've never been a true angry person. And my counselor told me, he said, Tricia, you need to get angry. You need to let it out. And, um, and so, at that time I did, but I am not one to do that. And, but I maybe rebelled a little bit in anger and rebellion, because I felt unloved and felt unworthy. I felt devastated. I felt just ugly, fat, awful. And then, and there was that grieving process and stuff. But it was like I never was so far away from my Lord that I could, just finally say, okay, here am I. I need your help. Just help me out of this because I'm a better person than this. And my son needed me at that time. My older son needed me. And so I just put on my big girl panties and got going. And so
Dealt with it.
So
Yeah.
but I do feel in the last 3 years I've become even closer, and truly scripture has become a light bulb where I'll read it, and I've read it before, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can ask, I can receive. In fact, I don't know why I'm saying this. Maybe something needs, but I have a son that I've learned this week. I've been with him to see my new grandbaby girl. He's in the Air Force, and I find out that he's gotten all these awards, and Jessica, how we've been told celebrate your wins. He doesn't even tell his wife. And I thought, somehow he's gotten that either through, and probably a lot of it from me, because I would never celebrate my wins. That was too prideful, And so I'm learning this week that I'm teaching my son to celebrate wins. This was way out from what we were talking about, Jessica.
No, it's perfect.
But
It's
I think
perfect.
maybe somebody here that needs to realize that even as a Christian, we have been taught so much to be so humble, and yet God knows our hearts, that we're humble inside, that we can celebrate the good things that He's given to us and He's done for us. And that includes awards, that includes, a new grandbaby child, or, we're allowed to celebrate those things. And there's nothing haughty about it. And I think that's one of the things that I think, we always hear that word, pride goeth before destruction. But I think there's a difference between humbly telling your wins and being arrogant. And why I'm saying this, I
Well,
have
and
no idea,
I
but
think
it's
it's,
just
I, somebody obviously needs to hear it that's been watching or is going to watch later. Um, I think what I'm feeling out of that is it comes down to um, celebrating your wins, but not because of what you did. It's because what you have
right.
received and done with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's placing that celebration on something bigger
Right.
than our human selves. It's placing that celebration
That,
on just that overall, all-encompassing energy that we are all a part of, and saying, oh my gosh, this is so cool what I was able to do
yeah.
because I listened
Mm-hmm.
and I followed the push. So you've been getting
The
more
nudge.
and more nudges to help coach other people, and just really stepping
Mm-hmm.
into that and doing that thing that seems so scary and just doing it. And amazing things come. I
Yeah.
mean, seriously, has anything, if you look back at all the things that you worried that weren't going to work out, was there ever a time that you were left without what you needed, what you truly needed? No.
Never.
So it's that
Never.
connection of really, no, I love that. Celebrate your wins. And I hope, what did you guys do to celebrate your son's wins? And did he tell his wife?
Well, my daughter-in-law, she was just so surprised. And yes. And she says, I just can't believe that he doesn't, But I think it's like, for me, it took me a while to to be able to
Mm-hmm.
do that. And I think it's going to take him a while. Because he does have my heart as far as the
Mm-hmm.
sweet humbleness. And yet, I mean, like, his leader over his whole group, was telling me, you really have a great son to be proud of. And I go, oh my gosh, yes. And so yeah, I think it'll come into, and of course I know my ex will never listen to this, but but his dad is really kind of arrogant. And so I think he deals with that he doesn't want to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he just keeps his mouth shut. And so,
Right.
with you
Yeah.
explaining the difference, I
And
need
that's
to,
the programming.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
that's kind of what you were talking about earlier with as you learned and created that connection, that you started to see these things that were more human rules than what is actually there and
Exactly.
what is actually the real relationship. So, yeah, it all comes back to programming and what we've learned through our lives and what we've learned from our ancestors. It's all in our
Yeah.
genome, and we are constantly battling and trying to get back to this space of just being this being of love and light and sharing that
Right.
light with everybody we come into contact with. And I think that's something that you're really good at, is sharing that love and light. And it's always, um, I always feel the times that we have been in the same physical space together, it's a even stronger feeling of just that inner peace, and just um because it is that pure love that flows through you. And I think that's why your caregiving has been such a blessing to so many families, because everybody feels that when they get around you, even the people who are still all blocked up with all sorts of muck, they can still feel that radiating from you. So I thank you so much um, for that. So with your coaching business, do you have a link or a program or a way that people can contact you if they're looking for coaching or any questions about
Well,
like
right,
how do
yeah,
they find a caregiver?
right now, I'm setting up my marketing program for that, and really, and that's why I said this next year is action, and I'm really gonna get in to setting up that and a website and everything so that people can contact me. But in the meantime, it seems like everything that I've done has been word of mouth. So if there is someone that's on here and wants to talk or needs to talk, or looking for a life coach, I am available, and just touch base with me. But I am starting to set up all the um, the entrance, uh, you know, things to do, and contacting, just to find out what your needs are and if we fit or and stuff like that. So I'm working on it. So it's pretty exciting. So
Perfect.
I think that's more and more why I know my word is action. So,
Action.
but
It's time to move, not the way that you were expecting to be moving, but it's you'll
no,
be moving your feet in the sense of getting that stuff all in
yeah.
place. So,
And the neat thing, just like with you, with what you do and your life coaching and things, we can move around and still be able to do it. And that's awesome. So
yeah,
wherever we are is home.
exactly. Exactly. So, um, do you have any words to leave people with? We were kind of, I don't know, I feel like we stayed on a particular topic, but whatever comes to you right now as far as any final words as we finish this off.
Yeah, another thing just kind of popped up, and Sarah, Jessica, about this is that um, one of the biggest things that I hope that people will start um, in believing in themselves and the connection spiritually of we look at God's word and there's miracle after miracle after miracle. And we have gotten, especially United States, the apatheticness of we have so much, we don't really need miracles, but we need miracles. And I leave with whoever. Miracles happen. They happen every day. And if there's something that you need or want, believe in yourself, believe in your creator, that he can provide miracles for you. And that's been my whole life, in just seeing him work in my life has been God winks all the way. And you can ask Jessica about it. She'll help you through that too.
Most
So,
definitely.
but yeah, but just I see people that are suffering in their own bitterness and sorrows, and when there's something probably that they have, I know everybody has something they can offer to others as a great service and good for someone else. And that's just so important. We all need to focus on that. What can we do for somebody else to make their day brighter and our own day brighter?
I love that. Thank you so much, my friend, for sharing all of
Oh,
this with us and sharing your
you.
time with me. I truly appreciate you and love you to pieces.
Oh, I love you, sweetie. I sure do. And you mean more to me than you'll ever know. And when I have those little rough days, I look at your etching of the water off the duck's back and I think, okay, here we go.
Mhm.
Let it slide right off and start
Yep.
shining.
Yes. Yes. Tricia
So,
is the owner of that original drawing. She's the one that bought it off of me. So she owns that piece that's a favorite of everybody. And probably,
yes.
I don't know, I've done very few colored pencil drawings. It's not something that I spend a lot of time on because it is um, very, oh, what is the word? It takes perseverance for sure. It's time consuming. So
Mm,
there's a lot um,
uh,
that goes into
it's
just our lives
fabulous.
every day. I'm
Yeah.
glad it's there with you all the time. And we will see you all again tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Thank you,
I
Tricia. Bye.
love you.